Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 79.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I want to talk to you today about the law of the vacuum. Not talking about house cleaning. It's another one of those cute phrases that pop psychology likes to put on concepts, and it kind of cracks me up. But this concept is one that I've always practiced. I didn't know it had a title, and the other day I read an article about the law of the vacuum, and I thought, well, I've already been practicing this, but I guess psychologists have put a name on it. So what is the law of the vacuum? Well, I want you to think about nature. I want you to think about what happens in nature when you create a vacuum or you clear a space or you create space. Nature, which abhors a vacuum, will fill it. So some examples. If you were to go into the forest and clear the forest, over time, eventually, it would become a small forest, right? The trees would start to grow back from seedlings. Vegetation would take over. That space that you emptied would not stay empty and eventually would be filled up by vegetation and other things because nature abhors a vacuum. Have you ever seen one of those sci-fi thrillers where they show you what the world looks like, what New York City looks like if mankind just left it? What does it look like in 2 weeks? What does it look like in a month? What does it look like in a year? Nature fills it up. Nature takes over. If you walk down the beach and you leave footprints in the sand, nature will fill those footprints with water, with more sand. Nature, just by its essence, always fills voids. Why does that matter, and what does that have to do with mindset? Well, if you want something new in your life, but there's no room to put it into your life, there's no room to put it anywhere in your mindset, in your heart, in your relationships, in your world, then that thing can't come to you because you have to create space. So the question is, what are you holding on to that's keeping you from something better? What are you holding on to that if you release it, it creates a vacuum? If you release it, it creates space for something new to come in. I always say that you have to open your hands. A clenched fist receive nothing. You want to receive something, you have to open your hands. But the very gesture of opening your hands is one that makes you feel a little bit strange. It makes you feel a little bit insecure, right? You're opening your hands, which kind of implies you're letting go of something. You're giving up control. But that's really what we need to do. We hold on so tightly to things that we know and things that aren't even serving us. And we want so much change in our life. We want so much good things, and there's so much goodness around us, but we refuse, for whatever reason, to let go of certain things in our life. But we have to create that vacuum in order for new things to come in. And you know, this is something that relates to things in your mindset, limiting beliefs that you've been holding on to, things that are holding you back, lies that you're believing that you need to get rid of, so you create a vacuum to replace it with good things, with affirming thoughts, with truth. But it also relates to your environment. Even just think about your environment. If you have a desk that's really messy and you have a ton of things to do, it is so much harder to accomplish anything. It is so much harder to have creativity flowing, to think of new ideas, because your literal environment, your space, your physical space is cluttered. The same thing with your home. If your home is cluttered, it creates a lack of peace. It makes you less able to invite new ideas even into your head at work, right? It makes you less able to even, this is silly, but buy a new couch because you have old broken down furniture and all this junk in your family room, so you can't have something new. I mean, there's a physical attribute to this and a mindset attribute to this. But think about your physical space. Is it cluttered? Does it feel like you don't have peace? Is it hard to focus because there are so many things around you? What do you need to do to create a vacuum so that productivity can come in, so new ideas can come in, so that peace can come in? Absolutely, the space that you have makes a big difference. When it comes to relationships, there may be relationships, friendships that simply don't make sense for you anymore, that are negative, that are toxic, but you're holding on to them for some reason. And you say, I want new friends, I want a better crowd. You say you want those things, but yet you're holding on to things that are hurting you. You're holding on to things that take up the space that new friends and new experiences could take, because you can only have so many, right? So you haven't created a vacuum in your life by moving on from those friends, by creating space, by opening yourself up to new experiences, to new people, so that you can have the people around you that you know that you need. So another way to think about this, frankly, is that when you lose something, maybe it's not that bad. A lot of times, if we have a relationship that we lose, we often become panicked or become upset, when a friendship moves on, and we think, I've got to hold on to that. But is it so bad? Maybe sometimes, at least in love and in peace, if you let someone move on. I told my kids the other day, who one of them was struggling with a friend who wasn't being so nice. And I said, you know what? Sometimes God moves people out of your life because he heard a conversation that you didn't. He knows what's best. And so sometimes we want to hold on to those things because we know them, hold on to those people, those things in our life, but yet they need to move on. And so maybe it's not that bad when we lose something, or it appears that we've lost something. It creates that vacuum. It allows for new things to come in. It may hurt for a while, and it does. In the case of relationships, there's a loneliness that might set in, or you question, is it something about me? But the truth is, that's a moment in time where that vacuum, you allow it to be there. You open your eyes, you go out into the world, and you can fill that vacuum with new relationships. In your mindset, so important. So important when you think about anything in your life that you want to change, your finances, your health, the way you think, your success on your job and your business. Think about what you're thinking about, because if you don't deal with the negative mindsets, if you don't deal with those toxic beliefs, if you don't get rid of them, you cannot create a vacuum then to attract what you want in your life, to start to believe the right things, to start to believe the truth. Because the lack you're seeing is only in your mind, because you're holding on to a picture of lack. I don't see success. I don't see financial prosperity. I don't see the things I want. I see lack. But that's only the picture you have in your mind. You haven't decided to move on from that, create a vacuum so that you could see possibility. I mean, you are surrounded by good. That's the truth. You may not feel that way, but there is goodness all around you. You're just not seeing it because you're looking through the lens of lack and looking through the lens of a victim mentality, maybe holding on to things that hurt, but they're so familiar to you and they define you that you don't want to let them go. You are scared to release them for something better, because that saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Well, what if it's not a devil that's going to replace that devil you know? What if it's something great? How will you ever know? If you don't create that vacuum, create that space, step out, be willing to shake off the victim mentality, be willing to shake off the things that you've allowed to define you, be willing to actually step into new things that before scared you, so you would shrink away right before a breakthrough. Really, it's so easy to stay in the status quo. It's what we know. It's what makes us feel safe, even if we hate it. Even if we hate it. It's just human nature. So today, I want you to think about those things in your life that you want to change. Have you released them? Are you working diligently to create a vacuum in your life so the new things can come in? If you don't do that, you won't be able to attract the things that will change your life, because there simply is no room. Use the image if you need to, of the closed fist or the open hand. When you open your hand, you will be releasing things, but that's also a posture of receiving. So open your hand, receive new things. It takes courage, but without courage, you'll have nothing new in your life. It's worth it. It's worth it. So I don't know which thing today that you need to release, which void you need to create, which vacuum you need to create, but it's worth it. Do the work and know that if you do it correctly, good things will come to you. Don't fill that void with 10 more bad things. You know better. Fill that void with the things that you deserve. Have a great week, guys. Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.